Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. So I've been away. I've been away from the gram, from YouTube, from all social media platforms. Really, for about what 6 months now. Last time I posted anything on Instagram or uploaded a video here on YouTube was about I think August of 2022, and this is February 2023. So that's like 6 months, I guess, if my math is correct. Yeah. So welcome back. I have missed doing this, and I'm glad and grateful to God that I am able to, that I've got my zeal back. I've got my interest back. Again, and I'll get into all of that. All of the reasons why I've been away, what I've been doing while I was away, and all of that in a bit. If you're new to my channel, my name is Faith. I am an abuse related trauma therapist. I help survivors of abuse of all kinds to heal spiritually, emotionally, and relationally. Yeah, so that's what I do. And I'm a vlogger. I upload videos here on YouTube talking about, recovery, healing, mental health, and everything in between, all that has to do with, healing from trauma, abuse related trauma, right? Yeah, so welcome to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet and you're interested in content like this, like I just said, right? If you're interested in such content, and you'd like to see more videos like this, or videos of me, please hit the subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell so that you are first to know whenever I upload a new video, right? Yeah. So I have a section of my vlog on here on YouTube that I have christened Therapy in 2 minutes. And this particular video, or this particular kind of video and length of video, is new. Is new to this channel, so to say. Anyways, and I'll be doing a lot more of this. There's still gonna be therapy in 2 minutes, but I'll be doing a lot more of this where I really genuinely, openly, um with vulnerability as much as I can afford, right? Share my journey to healing, my journey through healing, with you guys. And you could pick one or two lessons. You could be blessed. You could be, something could make sense to you. You could feel seen, feel understood, by how I share my own journey, through healing from abuse, with you. All right. So I was saying, I mean, from the title of this video already, you would, I mean, that has probably obviously given away what this video is going to be all about. So like I said, I've been away for 6 months. And why did I okay, yeah, so let me just jump right into it, right? So why did I go away? Where have I been? And I mean, I've gotten messages, and I just want to say, yeah, that I just want to say thank you to everyone who has called me, texted me, emailed me, DM'd me, to check on me, be like, are you good? Are you all right? It's been a while. I've seen your videos. And all that, it means a lot to me. Some of them I probably never responded to because of the state, of mind that I was in at the time. But I just want to acknowledge that I see and saw every one of them, and it means a lot to me. Whether I responded or not, I'm not sure what category you fall into watching this, but whether I responded or not, I want you to know that those messages meant a lot to me, and they contributed to my desire and wanting, to come back and give of myself and impact lives and help people, on their own healing journeys as well and all of that. So yeah, I was away. I went away to take a break because I just needed to breathe, right? I needed to breathe. I was going through a lot at the time. And so, really, I was stressed out emotionally, stressed out mentally. And this was as a result of quite unexpected, shocking issues, quite personal. and family based, and so um, I don't just get to share stuff around that because I'm not the only one, who's gonna be affected by whatever consequences comes from telling the details. So, but I mean, what's important to know is that I was dealing with issues, family issues. I was quite shocking, and it came all of a sudden, and so that sent me into a lot of stress mentally. And so I started out just wanting to take a break, wanting to take like a couple of weeks to a month max break to just stay off social media and just work on myself, work on my mind, work on just be about myself, right, and my space and all that, right. And however, I wasn't talking to anybody. I wasn't saying anything about how I was feeling and what I was going through that much to anybody. So, and that was a mistake. That is something that I have learned the hard way, not to not to indulge myself in anymore. And I mean, I'll get into all of that and all of the juicy part of it, as I go on. But yeah, so I wasn't talking to anybody. Um, and so what was supposed to be a couple of weeks to a month took me this long. Took me as long as 5 6 months, to get back into to get myself back and all of that. What happened was it went from just being, some emotional stress, mental stress, physical stress, as well. It went from just that into a full blown depression, full blown depressive episode. And uh, one of the reasons, like I said, one of the reasons why it sort of spiraled down into depression was that I wasn't talking to anybody, or so I was just trying to deal with my stuff by myself. Seeing as I mean, my thought and my what I had in mind then was, oh well, I mean, it's just stress. It's just this that I am, it's just this issue. Although quite shocking and difficult, to deal with. Um, but that I just said I could do it myself because I mean, I help people. I mean, I'm a therapist, right? I help other people with their own mental health. I help other people with their own recovery, healing, and all of that. So I'm not well. I mean, I know what to do. I know the tools. I have the tools, at my disposal. I have the knowledge. I have all of that, and then. But I wasn't talking to anybody. I mean, that's supposed to be one of the tools, right? I wasn't talking to anybody, and I was just trying to deal with it by myself. And then yeah, I spiraled down into depression, and because I was already in a state of mind that wasn't 100. I wasn't having it. I wasn't having my mind 100, so to say, because um, somewhere in there was me still, grieving the loss of my dad, but that died in 2020. And so somewhere in there, the grief was still there. I was still, you know, dealing with that, trying to process that, and all that. So that was there. So, so having like how do I put this now? So that I just had like different stuff that I was, working on again by myself. Uh, and so when this new thing came, it didn't meet me in, a state of mind that was 100, and so that just sent me down into depression, and I would have so many crying spells. I would wake up crying, go to bed crying, and this lasted for weeks to months. You know, I'd go to bed crying. Wake up crying. I was irritable. I got really really touchy. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep well. It took me time to fall asleep, and and I would wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to sleep again, and I just had intrusive thoughts, and all that. So um, so I was trying to say that I'm trying to catch my thoughts. I was trying to say that um, because my mind was not in 100. So yeah, there was the grief there, from the loss of my dad, and because I was not, like I said, it happened in 2020. It's still, as far as I'm concerned, it's still fresh. It's still early. I don't care what another person has to say or think. But I mean, for me, it's still quite recent, quite very early. and the circumstances surrounding, his death, how sudden it was, and all that. So yeah, like I'm still dealing with that even till now, right? So I'm out of depression, and I'm grateful to God for that. I'm out of depression right now, but I'm not gonna say that I'm not still grieving. I am. There are good days. There are days that are not so good, but then it doesn't last like it's not like my whole day. When it comes, my whole day is ruined. Not exactly, But yeah, I'm still grieving. Um, and because I was not when it happened, when he died, I was not allowed to grieve well, properly, healthily. There were family issues, extended family issues that were distressing, really, so distressing, so bad, that I had certain people communicate to me that they believed and they were sure that they were the ones who were grieving and who the death of my dad hurt, more, and that was really hurtful. There was just a lot, and again, I'm not going to go into all of the details of that, but there's that, right? So with the grief was anger, was hurt, was um what's it called now? With the grief came, uh bullying. Yeah, a lot of bullying. And so that doesn't make me or allow me grieve well. It just sort of complicated things for me, and I have had to mentally shut out, those things, and some of those people, to allow myself to, now start to grieve as I should, right? There was a lot of trying to protect me. I'm the first child, of my parents. So there was a lot of trying to protect my siblings, protect my mom, shield them, mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically, that I was so invested in doing that, and I could not, I could not, I just didn't find the time basically to grieve. Anyways, not overflowing that. So there was that, there that I was, trying. So I was now starting to, grieve healthily, properly, because I had shut all of those things out, and then this came, right? Um, so yeah, I sank into depression, and I still wasn't talking to anybody. And really, that's if there is if I didn't pick anything from that depressive, episode, it's that the one thing that I would definitely pick if I didn't even pick any other thing. I mean, I did, but the one thing that I would definitely would pick is no matter how trained, how much of an expert I am or anybody is in matters of the heart, matters of the mind, matters of the brain, we're not exactly um, I was gonna say immune, but immune is not the right word, and immune is not even accurate because the blood of Jesus gives me immunity, gives us immunity, from all of that. So, but what I'm trying to say is the fact that we know stuff does not mean that does not make us special, too special to have to go through the things that other people go through. I hope that I'm communicating this right. I hope that my choices of words are um, accurate, like represent what I stand for, represent my faith and all of that. So I'm not trying to be faithless, you know. At the same time, I'm trying to communicate the truth, really. Anyways, so yeah, that's one lesson that I have learned. And so I need to, you know, prioritize the things that I would expect my clients to prioritize, my therapy clients to prioritize, as well. Not keeping quiet, not trying to grieve alone, not trying to deal with process stuff, alone, to talk, to be open and all of that. So yeah, um, where was I? Yeah, so I wasn't talking to anybody. So that's I been to depression. And things got so bad that I started to think suicide. And that's when I took myself Seriously. That's when I was like, gosh, something has to be done, or something undoes me, basically, or this depression undoes me. So I started to think suicide. I started to, imagine, um, dying, um, killing myself, taking my life. Um, and at some point, it went from me thinking about it to sort of having mental pictures of, um, literally my head being blown off, with a gun. So, um, and that's when I was like, yo, because I value my life, I value life, deep down. I'm somebody who's very much purpose driven, and so I know that I'm on earth for a reason, so, and I desire to fulfill that purpose, to fulfill God's purpose for my life. I desire to, the only thing that keeps me going is the desire to help as many people who have been, abused and hurt in life, to heal, so that they are able to fulfill their own purpose. That's like literally my, if there's, if I was asked, what's my mission statement or something like that, that's what I would say probably. Is to help, people heal from abuse related trauma, so that they are able, to fulfill their purpose. Because there is no fulfilling any purpose if your mind is not right, if your mental health is not right, if you are traumatized. There's no fulfilling purpose to its fullest. You could touch on it, you could touch on some of the things that God will have you do, but to actually fulfill purpose, you need the entirety of your being, spirit, soul, and body. And so, if your soul is broken, if your soul is hurt, and your soul is where, your mind, your will, and your emotions are, right? So if your soul is broken, there really is no fulfilling purpose. It's not just, you don't need just your spirit to fulfill purpose. You need your spirit, you need your soul, you need your mind, right? And you need your body, right? If your soul and your body, is not, um it's not right. If it dies, I mean, you're gone. Your spirit returns to God. So to function here on earth and be able to fulfill purpose, you need sound mind, basically. So, what was I trying to say before I got here? So yeah, I was saying that I am that, I have that in my subconscious. I had God give me the word for it, and I'll probably do another video talking about why and how I started, to, um, get into this field, the counseling field, and how, you know, the everything that God gave me, basically, that, sort of catapulted me into this field, this industry, this whatever you want to call it. I'm going to do another video later on talking about that. If you like to know about that. So yeah, you could drop it in the comment section and let me know if you want me to do, a video talking about that. So knowing this, knowing that, if I am not fine, if I'm not all right, if I don't get all right, in time, that there are other people who would, not get to, um, receive of their healing through me, right? So I thought of, I can't continue, trying to do this by myself. As a matter of fact, everything I knew to do wasn't working, anymore. And I'll explain why. Maybe I can't really explain it in big details. So let me just say it now. The why is that when it comes to, mental illnesses, specifically, in this case, right, that we're talking about, depression and anxiety, um, sometimes, therapy, talk therapy, is enough to bring somebody out of depression. Other times, um, because depression is also a brain, you know, I don't want to call it brain disease of some sort, because it's an illness, it's a mental illness, right? And with every illness, just like, if you have what's it called, diabetes, right? There are medications for it, and you can manage it, you can come out of it, you know. So so same way, right? And I mean, with diabetes, one could say, okay, I'm going to stop taking sugar, I'm going to cut down on my carbs, I'm going to do this and that and that. But that may not be enough to get somebody out of diabetes, and the person would require medication, right? Same thing, with mental illnesses, and so with depression, um, and the depressive episode that I was in, therapy was not going to be enough, and I knew it, especially because I had sunk into um, suicidal thoughts, and they were quite graphic, right? So I quickly decided to see, a psychiatrist, and with my HMO, which I, gosh, really really recommend that everybody gets, if you're especially in this part of the world, in Nigeria, in Lagos, where I live. I feel like not so many people know about health insurance, or think they can afford health insurance when they actually can, right? And maybe again, this is topic for another video, but I just thought to chip that in, that it's important. I'm not going to. This video is not sponsored by any HMO, and I'm not even going to be mentioning the name of the HMO that I use, because because they're not sponsoring this. And as a matter of fact, I'm not exactly what's the word now? I'm not exactly fond of my HMO, and I'm still looking to. I mean, I'm still trying to search for others that fit my needs, that fits that just fits me basically. I have issues with some of the services that my HMO renders, and all that. So it's not about me trying to push or promote any HMO, but it's just it's important, to hop on on a health insurance plan. So basically, because I had that, um it was quite easy for me to get a couple of sessions, through my HMO, with a psychiatrist, and a psychologist who now referred me, to a therapist. So, I sought help from a psychiatrist because I was open, not I was open to needing or having to take medication if my psychiatrist didn't give it, and he did. So after talking with him, and all of the assessments, that he did, he placed me on antidepressant, placed me on one that was sort of like, I don't know what I would call it, like an emergency drug. So he placed me on that particular one for like 2 weeks, and I was to see him again after 2 weeks, to for him to see how I was faring, with the medication and all that. But that was temporary. I mean, the 2 week one was temporary, while the other one, the antidepressant, was something to keep taking. And so yeah, so I got on that, and I kid you not when I say that it helped me. Like, my mood went from zero to, I don't know, maybe 50, 60, you know, and at least that put my mind in a state where therapy could work. You catch my drift? Yeah. So that put my mind, put my brain in a state that could receive, therapy. So the thoughts of suicide were gone, if not 100% gone, probably like 90 thereabout percent. All right. So that was so that happened. I mean, I was placed on medication, and then my psychiatrist referred me to also, alongside seeing him, be seeing a therapist, right? So and so that was how that was one of the things that brought me out of that depressive episode. Um, Part of the things that sort of made it quite difficult, initially. So it wasn't like immediately I started what's it called? Immediately I started therapy, all was gone. In fact, after my first session with my psychiatrist, and I had started the meds, I think just a few days before I was to see them again, that's both the psychiatrist and the therapist, was like another blow came in, something else happened, and this was my clergy abuser, sexual abuser, sexual and psychological really abuser, just resurfaced somehow, somewhere again. I can't. I won't. Not that I can't, but I won't go into all of the details of that. But um, and a lot of freedom really came for me. From that episode, which I'm grateful to God for. It was something that sent me just hurt me even more. And made the process a bit more difficult for me. Was that I was doing well. It was like I kept doing well as long as this man was not in my space, in my radar anymore. But time and time again, this is probably like the second or third time where he'll show up somehow, in my space around me, causing trouble, causing havoc and hurt to me personally, right? And so, but so that happened, and it hurt me a lot, sent me back a couple of steps, and then but then thankfully it was a few days to seeing my therapist again, and so I could talk about this and process it, um, and it was really once and for all. Like it was like, if right now I'm in a state where if he comes showing up again, um, it won't shake me, it won't move me anymore. You know, I for certain reasons, Anyways, moving on. So yeah, uh, so there was that side of it. There was the um soulish part of it, the soul medication, part of my coming out of that depressive episode, and more importantly, there was the spirit part of it. And even before I started to see a psychiatrist and a therapist, excuse me, even if I started to see them, I was seeing God, right? And I was talking to God. I was making declarations and confessions concerning my mind, concerning my brain, and all that was happening in my brain, to my brain. And I was doing all of that, and I was praying, I was talking to God. I was not able to pray, long prayers because of the depressive state. I was not able to do, long prayers. And this is like something that I tell my therapy clients as well, who are Christians, and who complain about not being able to pray because they are battling with depression. And it's that at the end of the day, prayer is communicating with God, right? And it's talking to God and hearing back from Him. It's simply communication with God. And so, um, in whatever form, if I were physically, in my body, sick, I also would, probably not be able to pray long prayers and, do a lot of praying in tongues. And I probably would not be able to do that because my strength would fail me, my physical strength would fail me. So I would pray, but it wouldn't be physically exerting in that sense, right? So if I can excuse that for myself, and this is what helped me, and I believe will help you, if I can excuse myself being physically ill from praying long and physically exerting prayers, then I should be able to excuse myself um with mental illness, because it's sickness too, right? It is sickness, and so I would pray, I would talk to God in those times, and tell Him how I was feeling, and ask for His help, and all that. And really, part of the ways that God helped me was to send me to therapy, and I'm glad that I did. One of the reasons why I was not talking to anybody much about what I was going through was because I felt some level of shame. Excuse me, being that um I'm a therapist, right? I felt like if anybody heard, and this was even me thinking about talking to maybe a friend or somebody who knows me or something. But at the end of the day, I think it was good I saw a therapist, a very neutral person and all that. But one of the reasons why I felt I wasn't talking to anybody was because of shame. There was, on one hand, the fact that some of the issues I was dealing with were quite sensitive, personal, family, related, and I didn't want anybody in my business, So, yeah, there was that. However, also majorly, was shame, and was the fact that I I just felt like, I mean, what would people think? I thought you were a therapist. How come you're depressed as well? And you know the way people can be, right? So, and I felt shame. I really, I mean, if I think about it, well, it's more about me and what I thought of myself than what anybody was thinking or would think. Because the truth is, the fact is, I don't know what anybody would think because I'm not in anybody's mind, right? So it was really more of just me and me thinking, that how can I say that I am qualified, to help people come out of depression, to help people heal from trauma, and be depressed myself. What then qualifies me? And so I battled with that for quite a while, and that was why I didn't get help immediately, and things just went as bad as they went to the point of being, of having suicidal ideations. So there was that, right? I thought, I probably am incompetent, and I didn't want to be incompetent. I didn't want to be. Um, I started to think that I was probably a fraud. Started to question my knowledge, the things that I know. I started to question my expertise. Started to even question, the call of God on my life in this area. So yeah. So while I was praying and talking to God in the little subtle, quiet way that I could at the time, the direction God gave me was to go get help. And how He helped me to deal with that was, the Holy Spirit painted a picture or brought a scenario to my mind of how that, a diabetic doctor could be treating a diabetic patient and be excellent at it, whilst he has his own, doctor who's treating him, for his own diabetes or whatever other illness. And that makes sense to me. And so it's not like, and the funny thing is that it's not like it's the first time I'm hearing that or knowing that, because I mean, in all of the trainings that I have gone through to become um, a mental health practitioner, I I've learned, that every therapist, number one, every therapist should have a therapist, right? And then number two, um, we're not exactly, we're not going to have our own issues, and so yeah, we need to also get help and all of that. Um, so, but all it was like all of that went through the window, and I didn't even recall any of that, when the depression started and all that, until the Holy Spirit brought it to mind. And I remember watching, just going on YouTube to search stuff, for myself to help me and all that. And I remember seeing a couple of videos of different therapists and mental health practitioners talking about the same thing, and how that it's okay to be in that state, and having known all that I know, and having helped the many people that I have helped, with the same illness. So that was like, that just freed me, really freed me to get the help that I needed and that I deserved, right? And yeah, so that taught me a lesson, and I hope it teaches you a lesson as well, right? And if you think about it deeply, maybe there is an element of pride, lurking somewhere around in that, in that thought pattern or that mindset. But I mean, I'm glad that the Holy Spirit dealt with that for me, and I was able to get the help that I needed. And I mean, here I am today, shooting this video, starting to do the things that I love to do again, and all that. How did this that depression of this, because it's gone and gone for good in the name of Jesus. So that depressive episode um affected me so bad, it affected my work, I run what two three businesses, but two very actively. I run two businesses. I run a digital creative business, and this, I run my therapy practice, right? So, that present episode affected my work to the point where I started to have clients, especially on the part of my digital creative business. I started to have clients complain about, the quality of my work and all that. And for the therapy, practice, I was for a while in the beginning. For a while, I was still able to show up for my clients, but after a while, I had to take a break. And when I started to feel better, I was able to then pour of myself, into people. So I do my therapy practice, or I kept on doing my therapy practice, even though I was not showing up on Instagram and YouTube and on social media generally, but I was still able to see my clients, and that didn't exactly um, affect, the depressive episode didn't exactly affect that, you know, very much. The only thing was I felt like I could do more. The feedback I was getting from clients were, they were glad they were in therapy with me. They're doing a lot better because of, how much the things I've been able to help them with and all of that. So I do not think that was affected much, but I felt like I could give more and do more and be in a better state of mind, because really you can't pour from an empty cup, right? But the other business, the digital creative business was, oof, I was struggling in that area, and these things have a way of further deepening the depression, which is why, look, you can't afford to. Please don't be quiet. Please don't be silent. Even if you can't afford therapy, like, just talk to someone. Find someone. If it has to come to a point where you damn the consequences of telling somebody, you know but please be wise about who you're telling at the end of the day, please. But if it has consequences where you damn consequences of telling somebody and prioritizing your health, because if you die, it was of no good that you kept whatever you were keeping to yourself in order to protect whether it's yourself, whether it's some other person. But anyway, so yeah, that's how I dealt with not my gosh. That's how I dealt with that depressive episode. I'm glad to be back. This video is supposed to be like the launching of my return back, and I am hoping I'll be able to churn out up to 3 videos every week. I have not yet put complete structure, so that, and the specific days that I'll be doing that. So whilst I am still doing this, before putting actual days of the week to it as the constant days that I upload videos, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss it when I upload new videos. Right. I was gonna say, yeah, one of the things that I also felt during that depressive episode, um, that made things just complicated. Where it was, again, like I said, I was still grieving my dad, and so thoughts of him would come, and how he could, as I think of, if he was alive, what would he have done, or what could he have done, to help me with the situation that I was in, that was the trigger to that depressive episode, and it would just make me so sad, and I would cry. I would miss him so much. My dad was the kind of person who, um to me, to us, his children, was like, um would always want to take our pain if he could, right? I remember periods of time when I got in trouble, where I put myself in trouble, really. Periods of time where maybe stuff happened with my academics that were not so good. Maybe I didn't do well. And this is, people find this strange for an African, for a Nigerian dad, but it was the kind of person who would be like, you know what, I have that. I would rather, if you could just dump the pain on me. Let me feel it. It's my problem, right? You just be fine. And so so thinking about that just made me miss him more, and made me the more, you know, depressed, moody, and all that. I remember how that um, I had done something really bad, sinned against, I sinned against God, I sinned against Him, against my parents, and I got in trouble for it. I got in serious trouble for it, and I was away from my parents, at the time. I think I was in my service year. I was doing my NYSC, serving my country. Then, and my dad put a call through to me, and he was like, "Come home, like just come home," and he was literally begging me, not to hurt myself, now that even if um, I had done, okay, now I'm trying to be careful, but even if I had done, you know, so badly, no matter what I had done, there was an accusation and all of that, that even if I had actually done it, even if I did it, that everything would be fine, that he was there and that he was going to take care of it. Oof, now I feel like crying. Oh, all right. So he was like, I was gonna take care of it and all that. And so knowing that if my dad was alive, he'd probably say the same thing to me concerning, the current, trigger for that depressive episode. And he'll be like, "Come home, let me feel the pain, let me take the pain away," literally. And I needed that. I needed to hear that. I wanted to hear that so badly. It made me miss him, even more, and just made it, a whole lot more depressing. But like I said, I am better. I'm back, and this is how it's gonna be forever and even better in the name of Jesus. And so, why did I decide to share this? I mean, I could have just come back on social media, and just act like nothing happened and just continue, with my content and all that, right? But it occurred to me that it would not make sense to let this victory, over depression go to waste. Excuse me. That would not make sense, not to share the testimony, not to share this really, and a big part of my ministry, a big part of um, the things that I do, as God instructed and gave me, which I'll share, like I said, in another video of how and why I started doing this. But a big part of it is being vulnerable and sharing my own journey. God gave me a scripture actually for that, and um, so it's necessary that I share my journey, to the extent that um, that God requires of me. And I hope that hearing these things and seeing me talk about my victory over depression has you know has helped you in some way. As I hope that you've learned lessons from my lessons, learned lessons from my mistakes, learned lessons, and you've really even just received hope, which is really important. I hope that if there's anybody watching this out there and is going through depression, that this video gives you hope that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you're gonna come out. I want you to know that you're gonna come out of it and look back and be thankful that you didn't commit suicide, and look back and be thankful that you came out, and just be bold and confident of the fact that yeah, healing is real, recovery is real, right? Yeah. So I'm not sure if I covered everything that I wanted to cover, in this video. I'm sure that it's probably after I've, you know, well, after I'm done recording and watching the video that I would record, oh, I forgot to mention this or I forgot to mention that. But if I remember anything that is worthy of, note, I would either drop it in the comment or I will do another video talking about it. If you have questions concerning my journey, concerning depression, I think I probably didn't talk about all of the symptoms that I had that made me know that I was depressed. Before even going to see a psychiatrist who now diagnosed me of major depressive disorder, right? Um, so I'll do another video. So there are quite a lot of videos to do now, right? So I'll do a video talking about symptoms of depression. That'll probably be another therapy in 2 minutes because it may not really be a long video per se, and it's not no longer necessarily about my own journey. Right. So yeah, I'll do a video if you'd like to see that. And please know that my videos are purely informational, educational, entertaining, however you find them, but they are not substitutes for psychiatric help or professional therapy, right? They're not substitutes. So if you would like to have actual therapy to deal with your trauma and mental illnesses, or just whatever going on in your mind, whether diagnosed or not yet diagnosed, if you would like to book a therapy session with me, I'll drop the link in the description below. You would need to fill in an intake form, a counseling intake form, and when that is done, I would then email you to follow up and let you know the next steps to take. The intake form is so that I know that I am number one, qualified to see you, or what's the word now, or that we're just a great fit for each other, you know. And if not, I would also still send you an email to let you know, to give you the reasons why, and to refer you, you know, for the help that you need. All right. So if you'd like to, to start therapy with me, the link will be in the description box below. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's good to be back. Good to be back recording my videos. Good to be back, on social media. Good to be back seeing my beautiful face on my screen, camera screen, or whatever. Yeah. If you like this video, if it blessed you, if it touched you, if it gave you hope, if it gave you faith, if it gave you love, yeah, please hit, the thumbs up, but give this video a thumbs up.